Uh, we have breaking news, folks, coming out of the United Nations. I've been watching uh, as the proceedings in the UN Security Council has been going on, and there is significant discussion on whether or not to make Palestinian state a two-state solution. This is not negotiation between Israel and the Palestinian people, but this is a United Nation discussion right there in the United Nations Security Council on whether or not to just go ahead and forcibly declare Palestine a state. And they've even put out the perimeters. Let me tell you all about that. It's taking place right now. I'll tell you in just a moment. First of all, there's a quick shout out, if I could, for the new gutfix.com/Paul. That's the new gutfix.com/Paul. I just found out something very fascinating. What if you could restore your gut health with one simple fix? And according to one doctor in California, there may be a way. In fact, he believes it's so powerful that it could be like a power wash for your insides. Dr. Guntry, who is a world renowned heart surgeon, reveals the root cause of weight gain, food cravings, low energy in a very short video he released to the public, which you can watch right now, right there below in the description. If you click on the link, the new gutfix.com/Paul, by clicking the link in the description below this video. What's even more fascinating, the video also reveals how you can transform your gut with one simple thing. Find out now by going to the new gutfix.com/Paul. That's the new gutfix.com/Paul. You will be glad that you did. Okay, no doubt about that. Guys, we're coming up on Passover. As you guys know, some of you people are already been sitting in their Passover offerings all week. Passover is Monday, April 22nd. We're going to do a special Passover prayer over the offerings that have come in so far tonight with Mike from around the world. We really believe that this is a time for people to really, really, really experience the seven blessings of the Passover, and it's incredible, really. Okay, so you can give your Passover offering today. Go to our website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's paulbegleyprophecy.com, or you can pick up the phone and call. The number is 765-414-2230. We've taught on that for a couple times here. I'll share more about that tonight, but certainly as you give, know that the Lord respects your offering, and it's part of the Passover process. And the blood that was applied to our hearts through Jesus Christ, who is the Passover lamb, and the seven blessings commanded by God upon those who participate. Put your prayer requests with that, because I'll be taking those to Israel with me the next time I go to pray at the wall on your behalf in Jesus' precious name. Okay, let's talk about what's happening at the United Nations. This is big. This just in. I was listening to the state of Palestine, and that is what the United Nations calls them. They're not a nation. They're called the state of Palestine, although they have no property. They have no place to call theirs, not at this moment. They have no landmass, and none of the Arab world wants to give them any. Egypt is not going to give them any. Saudi Arabia said no. Jordan says no. Syria says no. Everybody. Okay. And so I just listened for quite a while to the ambassador, not the ambassador, but he was the ambassador of the of the state of Palestine, explaining why there needs to be a two-state solution, a Palestinian nation, and it needs to be recognized by the whole world in a UN vote. This was huge. And I listened for a long time, and he really threw Israel under the bus. And there was a lot of stuff said that I just was shaking my head. Okay, now, just a few minutes ago, the ambassador to the United Nations of Israel was speaking, and he was explaining why it's a joke to even have this conversation. He said, how many times is this United Nation body going to sit here and debate on parting the land? On how many times do we come here and talk about how you guys want to create a two-state solution? He said, not one time has the United Nations Security Council met to discuss the freeing of the hostages. Not once. There's not been one meeting on it at the UN. But numerous times, continually, this is the discussion. And today, I went to the United Nations website where you can see the agendas of each day. And today's agenda is, number one, adoption of the agenda. So in other words, agree that this will be the agenda. And number two, the agenda, which is this: the situation in the Middle East, including the Palestinian question. The Palestinian question. And so what's the recommendation? Admission of new members. There's a letter that was dated April 3rd, 2024 from the Secretary General addressed to the President of the Security Council. Today's open debate held under the agenda item, the situation in the Middle East, including the Palestinian question, is expected to be suspended at 1 p.m. this afternoon and then resumed at 3. The Security Council will hold an open debate again on Tuesday, 23rd of April, April 23rd, in connection with preventing conflict-related sexual violence through the demilitarization and gender response arms control under the agenda item, women and peace and security. Okay, so this is what they would discuss. Now, member states wishing to participate in person should subscribe their names on the list of speakers through the process. A letter addressed to the President of the Security Council, signed by the permanent representatives of the Charge of Affairs, requesting to participate in accordance with the Rule 37 of the Council's provisional rules. You must do. There will be an open debate. Now, today's debate that is going on right now, and I listened quite a long time to the Palestinian representative, and I listened quite a while to the Israeli ambassador, and it's unbelievable. I'm just unbelievably how many people, the whole world is sitting there and they're debating on carving up the land. They're debating on parting the land of Israel forcibly now. They're forcibly, by resolution, by vote, a whole global world. Now, the Security Council will debate this and then vote. And that vote is whether or not to send this resolution to the General Assembly to be voted on by the world. Now, the United States, there's 5 members of the United Nations Security Council right now, 5 members that have veto power. They are China, Russia, Great Britain, France, and the United States. It's the word on the street is Great Britain, France, Russia, and China all are willing to vote to send this to the General Assembly. The United States has always voted no, veto, no, you can't, we're not going to do this. And then that stops it, and it can't be done. But there's more pressure on this meeting right now than there's ever been on this question. I remember being in Israel. I was there one time, and I met with Rabbi Yehuda Glick. He was a member of the Knesset. I was in the Knesset in his office, and I brought up to him that in Paris, France, At that very moment, I was sitting in the Knesset with Glick. 20 members of the world were sitting in Paris, France, drawing up the border of what a two-state solution would look like. They have already decided what that would look like. It would include not only all of Gaza and all of Judea and Samaria, which is the West Bank, but it would also include eastern Jerusalem, and would all become part of this Palestinian state, with East Jerusalem becoming the capital of the Palestinian state. It would be dividing the land of Israel and dividing 9/11. There's 911 people here. Get my book, Revelation 9/11. It would be dividing the land of Israel and dividing the city of Jerusalem. Now, God said, don't part my land. Joel chapter 3, verses 1. Okay. Joel 3:1. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And you can read the first 3 verses of that chapter 3 of Joel. But it appears in prophecy that somebody does. I don't know if it's the Jews allow it to happen. In other words, they negotiate and decide to go ahead and do it to try to keep peace. I was listening to the foreign minister of Palestine, Palestinian people, I should say. He was on MSNBC this morning on Morning Joe. I watched that interview with Joe Scarborough. He threw Israel under the bus multiple times and said that the only way that there could ever be peace in the area would be to part the land. I then watched the foreign minister of Jordan. He said that they're willing to help Israel, and they shot down the Iranian missiles, and he even admitted Iran is the biggest problem in the Middle East. But that could all be solved with a two-state solution. Now, this is what the UN is doing right now. They're talking about it right now. The Israeli ambassador is on the floor right now saying this is insane. You just can't go parting some sovereign nation's land. You can't just go taking people's land. And after the attack of October 7th, do you really think after what they did to us that we should reward them with their own state, their own nation? That's insanity. We should be talking about, he said, the Iranians and all their proxies, and so what they're trying to say, guys, the bottom line is this. The United Nations are trying to say that the only way there will ever be peace is to part the land of Israel and that create a Palestinian state, and then peace can come. I can tell you right now that will not bring peace. That will make Jerusalem will become a cup of trembling, according to Zechariah chapter 2. Jesus apparently knew that they were going to do this, that it was going to be forced upon Israel, and he knew because of that, the Antichrist would eventually, they would let Israel build the temple, and I'm sure that's being negotiated. Let them have their own state, and in return, Israel, you can go ahead and build your temple. And to do that, you have to first sacrifice the red heifer. And the red heifer, 4 of them are ready to go. And so they can pick any one of those, and they could do this. And the word on the street is that they're going to do it this coming Monday on the Passover, April 22nd. If they do, they will then have the ashes of the red heifer preserved, and then that's all the ceremonies they need to do before they start building the third temple. So what it really looks like it's coming down to is what I've been preaching for almost 40 years, is that the day would come when there'd be so many skirmishes and so much war and so much bloodshed that finally somebody would try to force a two-state solution and and offer the Jews the right to build their third temple. But to do it, they would have to give up the land. And guys, this is coming right down to it. It's coming right down to it. And listen to what Jesus said. Apparently, in Matthew 24, this is what happens. And the temple does get built. And we know it gets built because Paul tells us that's how the Antichrist gets revealed. He actually walks into that temple and declares to the world that he's God. And the eyes of the Jews and the eyes of the world are opened. And the two witnesses are killed in the streets by the Apollyon who crawls out of the bottomless pit that we talk about in Revelation, and it's in the Bible, Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. That Apollyon, the angel of the abyss, the angel of the bottomless pit, actually then not only releases 4 more fallen angels from the river Euphrates, which creates World War III, but he also is the entity that kills the 2 witnesses in Revelation 11. And that happens because the Antichrist, the lawless one, walks into the temple of God before the worshipers of God and declares that he is God. And so how close are we to it? Well, first you have to part the land. Second, you have to let the Jews build the temple. And third, the Antichrist rises to power. But you can't build the temple until you have the burning of the red heifer, and that is set apparently for this coming Monday, which is the first time in 2,000 years. And get this, and why are they doing this? Because the Bible said if you go to dedicate the temple, or if you go to purify the priest who would be performing this dedication, you need to have the ashes of a red heifer, and that's found in Numbers chapter 19. It tells you the exact qualifications of that heifer. And there were 5 red heifers found in Rockwall, Texas, that have been shipped to Israel and in preparation. Now I got some more information to share with you. That ramp that you saw, and I showed you pictures of it, and CBS News did a big article, a big interview about it on a Saturday morning 2 weeks ago, and they showed you this ramp, and they said that's where the red heifer would have to be walked up and it'd be sacrificed up on that ramp. That's not true. That ramp has nothing to do with the ceremony of the sacrifice of the red heifer. It will be done on an altar built with wood, and it will be done at the Mount of Olives, within seeing distance of where the third temple will be built. And the sacrifice ceremony has to be followed by exactly according to the scripture. They've already identified a priest who has been chosen to do it. They have the man. He is of the tribe of Levi. He is a rabbi. He has been trained. He is a virgin. He is prepared. And so they are ready to do this. So now they knew they were planning this. Everybody knew these red heifers were in the stall. And if Hamas said that the reason they attacked Israel on October 7th, their number one reason was the red heifers and the coming sacrifice of the red heifers. And they could not allow that to happen because they know if that happens, then there's nothing preventing that. All the rituals will be done. Everything is ready. They've already got the menorah. I've seen the golden menorah many times. They've already got the golden shewbread table. I've seen it 5 different times. I've walked into the Temple Institute and looked at all of the utensils that's needed. The 7 silver trumpets for the 7 priests upon the wall, ready to go. The high priest's clothing, his garment, his breastplate that has the 12 different stones, precious stones, each one representing one of the 12 tribes of Israel. I've looked right at it. I've seen the golden altar where the incense will be burned and the smoke will go up before heaven. And they've got everything they need. And they even say that they have the Ark of the Covenant, that it is secured in a location. It is completely protected, and they will bring it out once the third temple is built. So the question is, what will happen today? Will the United Nations vote to send this resolution to the General Assembly of the United Nations to vote on a two-state solution? Or will the United States of America veto this resolution and keep this from happening? And how much longer will this continue? How much longer will this move for a two-state solution be denied until finally allowed? And Joe Biden, the president of the United States, he's all for it. He has said this since the day he became president. He is for it. He wants a two-state solution. The whole world is gathered there today. They all want it, except for Israel and whatever allies they can get to kind of hang with them. And at some point, apparently, they must all turn their back on them. And as a matter of fact, there's scripture that says that the world will turn against Israel at some point. And so we're watching. God said, don't do this. Don't do this. But Jesus apparently knew it was coming. And here's what he said. He says the Christians will get persecuted first, which we are. In about 60 different nations of the world, Christians are being slaughtered, imprisoned, murdered, silenced. And so Jesus says that in Matthew 24 when he says, then in verse 9, he talks about all these things, wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, and all that. Then he says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall destroy and shall deceive many. And so this is in the church world now. You're going to be hated for my name's sake. Whose name? Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound or run rampant, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. So Jesus says there's going to be a lot of persecution against Christians. And then apparently the third temple gets built and more persecution comes against Christians, and also obviously Israel, the land apparently gets parted. The third temple gets built. And Jesus says there will be an abomination of desolation, which Daniel prophesied in Daniel chapter 9 that would happen. And Paul tells us what that abomination is. It's when the lawless one, the son of perdition, the Antichrist, when he walks into the temple of God before the worshipers of God and declares that he is God. He stands in the holy place. He stands on the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant in the Holy of Holies in the third temple in Jerusalem. And I seen that in a vision once. I seen it. God showed me a man doing it. And so, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is in the housetop not come down, take anything out of the house. Neither let him which is in the field return back, try to get your clothes. It's too late to pack. The Jews are told, if you're living in the West Bank, Judea, if you're living in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, there's about 1 million Jews that live in the West Bank. Can you imagine handing the whole West Bank over to the Palestinians and creating a two-state solution with 1 million Jews living there? All of a sudden, those 1 million Jews will be living in a state called Palestine. Can you imagine you think there'll be peace then? And at some point, when the Antichrist takes full control of the world, he apparently orders the slaughter of the Jews, which is not the first time this has happened. It's happened. Haman tried to do it, and they tricked the king. And Esther saved the nation through prayer and fasting, but still, Jews were killed. Hitler tried to do it with his final solution was the slaughter of Jewish people. Hamas tried to do it on October 7th, just a few months ago. And so the Lord says, woe unto them that are with child and them that give suck in those days, but pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. This will be the beginning. It's of the real tribulation. So you have a 7-year period in which at the midway point, at the midweek, it says in Daniel, the Antichrist commits the abomination of desolation, takes power of the world, and starts the worst tribulation period in history of 3.5 years. So you're halfway in the 7-year period, but it's the last 3.5 years of that's absolute hell on earth. And so when some people ask me, so what's so important about what's happening right now? Can you imagine this, that the Jews are thinking about the sacrifice of the red heifer this coming Monday, and today, on Thursday, the whole world is meeting right now to discuss a two-state solution. Who knows what's going to come out of this today? Does the United States, do they abstain and allow a 14-0 vote and send it to the General Assembly to be voted on, and probably would be voted on maybe this coming September? This is where we are right now. And there's no, what I can say is prophecy is being fulfilled before your very eyes. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, sitting on the right hand of the Father, watching everything going on, is considering and wondering, when will the Father tell him it's time to go? It's time to gather the redeemed. So give your life to Jesus Christ. So what do we do about the situation? Pray, but you can't stop prophecy. But you can be ready when it happens. I'll be right back. We need to turn this world. We need to give this world back to God. He's the answer. Have you looked around? Have you heard the sound of mama's crying? Or do you turn away when you see the face of the innocent dying? In these darkest days, are you not afraid that it's too late? You gotta get down on your knees, believe, fold your hands and beg and plead. You gotta keep praying. You gotta cry rain, tears of pain, pound the floor and scream his name, 'cause we're still worth saving. Can't go on like this and live live like this, we can't love like this. Give this world back to God. Have you lost your love? Feel like giving up? Has your heart been broken? Are your kids okay? Do they come home safe? Do you lie there hoping? You can make a wish, you can knock on wood, oh, it won't do you no good. You gotta get down on your knees, believe, fold your hands and beg and plead. You gotta keep on praying. You gotta cry, rain, tears of pain, pound the floor and scream his name, 'cause we're still worth saving. We can't go on like this and live like this. We can't love like this. Give this world back to God. Somebody pray. Something biblical's going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. You got to get down on your knees, believe, fold your hands and beg and plead, and keep on praying. You got to cry, rain, tears of pain, pound the floor and scream his name, because we're still worth saving. That's right, folks. Are you serious? Can't go on like this and live like this. We can't love like this. You can hope the best, make a wish. The only answer is give this world back to God. Oh, give it back. Donna, Donna. I'll be right done. 3 minutes. Donna, 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 Donna. Oh, yes. Jesus is coming back. Guys, it is the Passover this coming Monday. Send in your Passover offerings today with your special prayer request. Do it now. As we've been praying, we have been receiving those Passover offerings with prayer requests that have been coming in all week long. And so I'll be doing a special prayer over all of those that have come in so far tonight. Joining us tonight, of course, will be.
If you have arthritis and wonder what food could be doing to your joints.
Oh, yeah, I have arthritis, and that's why I'm eating blueberries. But anyway, you tonight with Mike from the World, broadcast starts at 9 p.m. It will be a powerful program. Mike said last week we'd be talking about war, weather, and water. And I'm sure, and I know we've got to get his analysis now, because this attack on Israel took place Saturday night, of course, so he has not given us his information and Israel has not responded yet. And then Israel got attacked again last night by Hezbollah, wounding 18 people in northern Israel. Israel has not responded yet. And maybe they're waiting till after this debate that's going on right now at the UN Security Council. It's everything is on the line right now. God bless all of you. I love you guys. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll be back with more. Again, we're going to be praying over the Passover offerings tonight, but you can continue to give. We're going to pray over the Passover offerings tonight. We're going to pray over all of them again Sunday night. And one more time, we will be praying for them, of course, on Monday, a special Monday evening broadcast, which is Passover, at the close of Passover. So I want you to be prepared for that. You can pick up the phone and call if you want to give over the phone, 765-414-2230. And we'll be back, guys, with more right here on the coming apocalypse.